Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus, you are tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and my main man,
JC.
John Coleman, a.k.a. Just John.
Where did you get that from? Is that new? Where did you?
Man, I was at that event we were at a few days back up in Jacksonville, and someone asked you your name, you're like, John. And then they're like Jonathan? And
No,
you're like,
just John.
And you go, just John.
Oh, yeah. That's
and
okay.
I was like, oh, snap. I go, going forward, you're just John.
Yeah. Okay, that's funny.
Yeah,
okay.
JJ for short.
I approve.
Yeah, that's kind of like we've been out drinking. Start calling you just John or JJ. You'll know where you stand at that point, okay?
Nice. How's it going?
Yeah, no, that's where that comes from.
Okay.
I won't, look, if it doesn't stick, I won't.
No, it is.
Go.
I think it's stuck. It's stuck already.
You're a cool dude, and JC's like a cool, that's John Coleman, that's JC.
JC, but
Yeah.
no, it's just John.
It's just John. Yeah. Like, can you imagine my wife going, hey, who's coming over tonight? Oh my God, it's just John.
It's John.
It's just John.
John.
You don't have to worry about running around cleaning the house.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, before we get started.
Okay.
I want to give a shout out, a proper shout out.
Proper shout out.
We tried doing this twice.
Butchered it twice.
We crashed and burned the first time because we couldn't even remember.
I was like,
our fan's name
Right.
and the company he just went to work for. They're super proud of.
Right.
And at the very end of last week, the last episode, we did a really good job of shouting it out. But unfortunately, it's at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
And I understand that sometimes when we get to the end and I'm doing the whole, hey, please like and share us and follow us on YouTube. Yeah, at that point, people are like, all right, cool. Yep, I need to go into Starbucks and grab my coffee.
Right.
So I want to do this one up front, proper,
Let's
personal.
do it.
So this is a shout out to Essex Mortgage.
Yes.
This is the Essex branch out of Nashville.
Okay.
All right. And this shout out is going to go to Chris Whedon.
Okay.
I believe Chris is the executive VP who looks like he lives in Nashville.
Okay.
And he has a branch led by Parker and Trevor. Mm-hmm. And Parker and Trevor have Josh, Tyler, Grant, and Zach working for them.
Damn, there you go.
So, hey, shout out to the entire Essex crew.
Right.
Thank you for tuning into T-Lop.
Right.
Thank you for appreciating what we do. Mm-hmm. And please, if you like what we're doing, share it, comment, give us a rating.
Yeah.
If you tune in on YouTube, great.
Yeah.
If you don't tune on YouTube, you can find us on YouTube at the Loan Officer Podcast. All 130 plus episodes are up there. Sometimes the camera cuts out and JC has to throw up a CGI, but that's because, look, we're a non-revenue producing entity at this standpoint. So our camera...
It is what it is.
Has a shelf life. After so long, it gets hot and it starts to shut itself off.
Yeah.
All right. If you watch us on YouTube, but you want to find where else you can listen in, check us out on Spotify. Check us out on Apple Podcasts. Check us out on Google Play. Really anywhere where you can listen to podcasts.
Yep.
And if you're into social media, like I'm into social media, we're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn.
I'm guessing as the Loan Officer Podcast.
At the Loan Officer Podcast, and I am Dustin Owen. You can connect with me on LinkedIn as Dustin Owen. You also, if you're on YouTube, JC, you do a really good job of keeping up with all the comments.
I try.
So we have viewers, fans who comment consistently in that thread.
Yeah.
You know what would be really cool, though? What if we one day had a website? Okay. T-Lop Online.
Okay.
And that website had a message board.
What? Like forums where people could go and talk about and have intelligent, thought-provoking discussions about the mortgage industry and beyond?
Yeah, everything from sales tactics to scripts to programs, products, and guidelines updates.
That sounds awesome.
Wouldn't that be awesome? Maybe a little foreshadowing. T-Lop Online.
There you go.
Stay tuned.
There you go.
All right, today. So last episode, we did the 4 C's, and we correlated that to PALE. Whether you use PALE, whether you use the 4 C's, they're one and the same.
Correct.
But I loved that episode because it wasn't just for loan officers. It was for all mortgage professionals. But wait a minute. It wasn't just for mortgage professionals. It was for people who sell real estate and for people who buy real estate, which basically encompasses about 75% of the American populace.
Let's go. Yeah.
Let's stay on that same theme.
Okay.
Let's do a topic that is industry related but can also encompass 75% of the American populace.
Okay. I think I know what the topic is.
Shoot, what do you think it is?
Well, if it has anything to do with this gaudy and flashy helmet with the crown on top, I would say it's how to get your offer to stand out in a market like this.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I tried to connect it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe because I'm excited that the bounce house, it was just announced, is going to be 100% attendance.
Okay.
Yeah. We're going to be bumping and bouncing this year.
There you go.
Our first home game is against Boise State.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a challenge out the gate?
Yeah, they're probably going to be all confused because we have green turf.
Oh, really? Oh, right. Because they're still playing on that bluegrass stuff.
Correct.
Aren't they? The bluegrass stuff.
Yeah. I guess they only grow bluegrass out in Idaho. But
that's a tough. You guys got a new coach, right? Gus Malzahn and nothing like that?
New coach. He's recruiting like crazy. I have not been this geeked up.
Yeah.
Since they announced moving the stadium onto campus.
What?
Like, that's how excited we are.
Real talk.
As fans.
I thought the stadium was always on campus.
Yep. No, look at that. That's what happens when you go to University of Tampa. Like, you don't even know. You don't even know.
Don't even know, bro.
But yes, so I took this beautiful helmet,
Mm-hmm.
this sign of championship programs, and I threw a crown on it to make it even stand out more.
How do you make it pop?
The helmet itself stands out. But you throw a crown on it,
that stands out even more.
Stands out even more. So let's talk about this market right now. If you're a home buyer, woo-wee. Man, is it not fun?
I heard it's difficult out there.
Like, it borderline sucks.
Really?
Yeah, but I think we did a show once. If not a show, we definitely did a TikTok reel. Mm-hmm. And we did a Facebook post about it sucks worse not buying.
The cost of waiting is way worse than...
Correct.
Yeah.
But it does suck.
Yeah.
So let's give you some tools, some ammunition, some tips, some tricks, some hacks that you can try to get your offer to stand out.
Okay.
So if you're one of 7 offers or 17 offers, how do you become one of 2 or 3?
Right?
Right? Because look, if you're tuned into this and 3,000 other people are tuned into this and everyone shares it to one person who shares it to one person, all of a sudden like 10, 20,000 people know these tips, tricks, and hacks.
Yeah.
But we're going to share them with you to give you a leg up because sometimes it's the first person to market. Right? It's the first person who's the trendsetter.
Right.
That person gives themselves the advantage.
Okay.
So there's basically 3 categories, and then what we'll do is we'll do a deep dive into each category, and hopefully we can get this done in the next 25, 30 minutes.
Okay, let's go. Sounds like we'll probably go 45, but I'm all with it.
I hope not, John. I hope not. So let's go.
Let's go.
The 3 things that someone can do is they can adjust their contract terms as a way to make their offer stand out. They can ask their lender to participate in helping their offer stand out, and they can create benefits to the seller to help their offer stand out.
Okay.
Right? So let's do deep dives into each one of those, what they mean. Let's give examples.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, this episode might not be so like sexy entertaining. It's going to be practical. It's going to be blocking, tackling for the win. FTW.
Let's go.
We haven't done an FTW episode in almost a year.
All right, it's about that time.
Yeah, but this is like win the contract. Okay. FTW.
Win the contract. FTW.
For the win.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
No, that won't be the title though. Right? The title is going to be something along the lines of
how to get your offer to stand out in the market in today's market.
How about just get your offer.
Get your offer to stand out.
Get your offer to stand out. All right. So contract terms.
Okay.
Here are things that you can do. Now, by the way, tuning in, you really do need a lender that can participate in most of these things. Like if you don't have a lender in your back pocket that you know, like, and trust, most of these tactics and tips and tricks and hacks aren't going to work.
Okay.
All right. So realtors and builders, this is every reason why you need to have a lender that is local, that you like, that you know, that you trust, and operates in conjunction with you.
Okay.
Home buyers, this is every reason why you can't just go with the cheap rate online. I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. There's way more to this process than a cheaply advertised interest rate. Right? You're trying to win a negotiation. You're trying to get your offer to stand out, your offer accepted. A great rate quote for a house that you can't find is garbage.
Right.
You need a competitive rate for a house that you're buying. And working with a local lender is going to help you do that. It just is. All right? And then creating the seller benefits, some of the things that you're going to have to do to create the seller benefits may very well require you to have your lender, everyone on the same page. Okay? So let's start with this. Contract terms. How about if you wrote a contract with no appraisal contingency? A little scary, right? Like, as a home buyer, in a normal market, John Coleman, you would have written your contract contingent upon the home appraising for at least the purchase price.
Yeah, okay.
Because why would you want to pay $300,000 for a home that only appraised for $290,000? Well, in today's market, you may just have to be willing to do that. You have to understand that you're buying this home with the next 5 to 7 years in mind, not the next 7 months in mind. So you may be willing to pay $300,000 for a home that's worth $290 because you know that if that home goes up in value, not if but when, by just 4%, then next year that home is now worth $301.
All right.
So, and then if it goes up another 4%, the next year that home's worth $313. But what you're able to do is get locked into the home, locked into the price, locked into the interest rate, and start accumulating equity just by making your payments on time.
Yeah.
Right? So like that, we talked about that in the cost of waiting. So you need to be able to have that opportunity. Something else you may be able to do or needing to do is, depending on the type of loan you're obtaining, because this doesn't work with all loan products like VA, FHA, USDA would not work. But on a conventional loan, you and your lender may be able to run your scenario through their automated underwriting system and get an appraisal waiver. So not only does that save you $500 on not needing an appraisal, but now it totally made your ability to write an offer with no appraisal contingency and not really worry about anything. Because the computer system has already accepted the value that you as a loan officer or your lender input in the system.
No, question for you. As a seller, when I have that contingency, why would that be attractive to me? Why would that kind of make it make that offer stand out, I would say?
As a seller, to have no contingency,
yeah.
That's one less thing that would allow someone to pull their contract from you. As a seller, I don't want you, John, the buyer, to waste my time. I don't want you to write a contract, and 28 days later, I find out that your financing fell through. That was 28 days I could have my house on the market and sold to somebody else. Time is money, my friend.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so as a seller, that makes it attractive because that's one less thing that can go wrong. What if I needed an appraisal contingency because the appraisal was going to impact whether or not I got financing? Well, if I'm trying to sell the home for $300 and only appraises at $290, and there's appraisal contingency, you may come to me and say, "Hey, DO, the seller, let's say I'm the seller, I need you to drop your sales price by $10,000." Well, no, not in today's market. I can put the home back in the market. I find someone else that's willing to pay $300 for this house. You know, so
Gotcha.
those are ways that you would be able to do so. Yep. How about no inspection contingency?
Okay.
Now, most contracts are written with the right to inspect. That gives me and my home inspector, my realtor, my spouse, my co-borrower, whatever, excuse me, that gives us an opportunity to go get a licensed home inspector to come out to our property, walk the property, let us know everything that's wrong with the property. All right, look, if I walk the property and I didn't see anything glaring at me, and I see what year the home was built in, I don't see any signs of water damage, or I don't see any signs of cracks in foundations or settled water in the ground. Yeah, maybe I'm willing to roll those dice, and I'm going to write my offer with no inspection contingency. Or what if my awesome realtor is getting ready to get a big fat commission when I buy this house? What if my realtor had a home inspector that would be willing to maybe not do a full inspection, but for a small fee, $50 or $100. Quick walkthrough before I make my offer. Now all of a sudden, I'm going to make my offer with no inspection contingency. Now all of a sudden, as a seller, woo.
That's another thing I don't have to worry about.
That's another thing I don't have to worry about.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll catch
Yeah.
it. Okay.
How about this? No financing contingency. Now, by the way, this is getting a little bit scary as a home buyer. Like, I'm stripping down naked.
Right. You're just like,
first the shirt came off. Right now the pants came off.
Right.
Now you're getting ready to tell me I'm in my boxer briefs.
Hey.
And I got to stand on stage and start giving a speech.
Right.
And possibly to even take off my boxer briefs.
Chill, bro.
Yeah. But no financing contingency. Well, if you know you're rock solid because your lender told you you're rock solid, and you trust your lender because you looked at your lender's reviews, right? You talk to your realtor, your renter's like, look, I have 13, 15 years experience working with this person, or I've done 10 transactions in the past 12 months with this person. If they say it's good, it's good.
Good, yeah.
You may very well do a no financing contingency. Or maybe your lender, like I work for a lender. That lender is called Waterstone Mortgage, and Waterstone Mortgage has what's called a platinum pre-approval. That's an opportunity where Waterstone's loan officers have the opportunity to put any potential home buyer through the underwriting process before they're even under contract. Now, full disclosure, the way that we coach and teach our loan officers and how we hold them accountable, they shouldn't need that platinum pre-approval because our loan officers are so good. They're trained as underwriters. They know how to collect the right documents up front, ask the right questions, calculate income properly, run it through automated underwriting, have full data integrity, at which point their pre-approvals are ironclad. But if that wasn't enough, you could work with a lender who offers some form of we're not the only lender who offers something like this. I'm sure other lenders do, but some form of our platinum pre-approval. Well, if you had a platinum pre-approval, you may be very willing to write a contract with no financing contingency. So yes, you're stripping down naked, but what you're doing is you're throwing those clothes at the seller.
Right.
Right? Now that seller's having a whole new wardrobe
Right.
that's making them feel that much more comfortable and safe about accepting your offer.
Right.
And then lastly, the ability to close quickly.
Yeah,
Now, not every seller wants to close quickly, but sometimes that's the difference between you getting your offer accepted and someone else.
Why wouldn't a seller want to be so
Easy. Because, John, I haven't found a house myself yet. Where am I going to go live?
Good point.
Or you may find the opposite. Seller already found the house. They can't close on the new house until they sell their current house. And they're afraid if they don't close on their new house on time, that seller's going to go ahead and relist the home and sell it to somebody else. So the same situation could work in my favor if I had the ability to close quickly. What's quickly? I don't know, 17 days, 21 days.
Damn.
Now, concern is that in many markets, I don't know if you can get an appraisal done in 17 days or 21 days. Right? Like, I don't know if there's a bigger shortage on appraisers, lumber, or microchips. But all three of them are running pretty scarce in today's climate. Now, if I was doing a loan that didn't require an appraisal because I had some kind of a property inspection waiver through Fannie Mae or through Freddie Mac, oh, perfect. I can 100% close quickly. But if you need an appraisal, even if your contract is written with a no appraisal contingency, your lender still may very well require an appraisal, at which point you're going to need 17, 21 days, somewhere around there. But that's a way to adjust your contract terms to get your offer to stand out. All right, so let's get into lender assistance because I kind of started going down that route when I talked about the platinum pre-approval, which again, many lenders throughout the United States have this, but not all. There may be banks out there, there may be online lenders or direct-to-consumer lenders, right? Those lenders that advertise solely online or big national TV campaigns that might not have this, but utilize some form of a system that lets you go through the entire underwriting process to where once you go under contract, all you need to do is get homeowner's insurance, get the title work completed, get the home appraised, and get out. Okay? But the loan officer, the person who did your pre-approval, has he or she reached out to the seller or the seller's agent on your behalf to advocate on your behalf? Had they reached out to the listing agent? Imagine this, John. You're selling your home. And I reach out to your realtor as the lender for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, who are my clients. I'm like, hey, John and John's realtor, I just want you guys to know I've been in this market now for 17 years. I help 200 families every single year with the financing of their home. This is my third time working with the Smiths. I've already collected their income documents, their asset documents. I've pulled their credit. Their credit report doesn't expire for 60 more days. I've run it through AUS. These people are golden.
Right. It's like you vouch for them.
Yeah. But I'm also making myself human. I'm also saying, hey, this is my contact information, John and John's agent. You know, the reason why you should accept my client's offer is that anytime if you have a question regarding the status of their loan application, give me a call. Shoot me a text. Send me an email.
Yeah.
Hey, John, as your lender, I'm going to reach out to you every single Tuesday. And if not you, I'll reach out to your agent every single Tuesday. And I'm going to give you a proactive status update. Right? I'm putting your mind at ease. Right? I'm advocating on behalf of my buyer. So loan officers, if you're not already doing that, do it. Yeah. Start now, regardless of market. I don't care if 4 years from now the script gets flipped and it's a buyer's market, you should do that. It's the best practice. Realtors, if your lenders aren't doing that for you, your buyers, if you're a listing agent and you're not receiving those phone calls, find a good local lender who's willing to do that. And home buyers, if you don't have a lender who's going to do that on your behalf, go find a new lender. This is serious stuff. You didn't want a mortgage. You don't want a home loan. You want a home. You want a house. You want to build wealth. In today's market, you need every every trick, tip, hack in the book.
Right.
These are some of the best ones.
Yeah.
Okay. Seller benefits. So last but not least, if I needed to, what are some seller benefits I could throw out there to induce the seller to sell to me? Well, what do you think one of the biggest seller costs is?
The biggest seller cost? Closing cost? No?
Commissions.
Commissions.
Typically, the seller is paying the commission to the realtors.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
What if I offered to pick up at least half the commission?
You can do that?
Yeah.
Can I just go offer some steak, like some nice knives and cheese? Does that work? Anything?
I don't know, right? Because there's definitely some area of gray that we're going to have to be cognizant of.
Okay.
But I 100% can enter into a contract where I contractually state I'm going to pay X percent of realtor commissions.
Ah.
How about this? You mentioned closing costs. How about I go in and say, as a buyer, I'll pay all closing costs? Because I have a buyer. As a buyer, I have my certain closing costs.
Mm-hmm.
But so does the seller. Seller has certain closing costs.
Oh, okay.
What if I'm like, no, I'll pay yours and mine?
Damn.
If it means that you'll accept my offer.
Right.
When I make an offer on a contract, I have to give a security deposit. It's called an escrow deposit or an earnest money deposit.
Mm-hmm.
They're all synonymous. Let's make it non-refundable.
Damn.
Right now, it's refundable.
Oh.
Right now, let's say I give a $5,000 deposit. Well, as long as I meet all of my contractual obligations of having my home appraised by a certain time, inspected by a certain time, what if I had my financing contingency, whatever the case may be, all of my different ways to get out of the contract.
Right.
I just said, look, mine's non-refundable. Here's $5,000, it's $10,000.
Right.
That's how serious I am about buying your house. That's how confident I am that my lender and I did enough work up front that we're going to have financing afforded to us. Period. End of story. Because you don't have to do all of these things. Like, right, we're listing a dozen or so tips, tricks, hacks. You may mix and match. You may pick and choose. You may only use one.
Right.
But a non-refundable escrow is one way to do it.
Yeah.
And then finally, I mentioned this. I mentioned the reason why a seller might not want a quick closing is because maybe they have to find a home of their own. Okay. How about if you agreed to lease the home back to the seller as an enticement to get them to accept your offer?
So like, hey, I'm gonna buy this, but until you find a home, you can live here.
Yeah. Yeah, because when I obtain excuse me again, when I obtain a home loan, especially as a primary residence, I'm going to sign an affidavit at closing that states I'm going to move into the home within 30 or 60 days.
Oh, okay, right.
But that's 30 or 60 days.
Right.
I could lease the home back to the seller for 30 or 60 days so that they can go out, make a strong, aggressive offer on their next home and not worry about, oh my God, if I accept Dio's offer, I have no place to live. Well, what if Dio says no? I'm going to go ahead and write an offer with no appraisal contingency. I'm going to give you a $10,000 non-refundable escrow deposit, and I'm going to let you lease the home back to me for 30 days.
Damn.
Okay. Now, all of a sudden, my offer, the one of 17, it's crept up.
Right.
Now maybe I moved up to like the 5th position. Now my lender calls on my behalf, and they advocate on my behalf. Ooh, now maybe I moved up to the 3rd position. All right, well, 3rd is still a loser. Right? We're talking about one person wins. One person gets the trophy. One person gets the prize. That's the home. What else is it going to take? Pay your closing costs? Deal. All of a sudden, I went from 1 of 17 to 1 of 10 to 1 of 3 to number 1.
Right.
Using these tips, tricks, and hacks for how to make your offer stand out in this type of seller's market, the most extreme we've ever seen.
Right. Question for you. As like if I'm a buyer, do you have insight into any other offers? Like, hey, I know this realtor's like they're offering like they're waiving closing costs, but this other offer here, they're gonna
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Like, I'm sure during the negotiation, I've never been a realtor. Never have been, never will be, never plan to be. Know a couple. I played one on TV once, okay? But I'm sure during the negotiations, at some point, the two parties, the party representing the buyer, the party representing the seller, have conversations.
Yeah.
Like, hey, look, I'm going to come in at $290. And they're like, Like, don't waste your time. Like, look, I'm just going to let you know right now, I have 3 offers over asking. I have one that's doubled the required earnest money. I have one that's made the earnest money non-refundable.
Yeah.
I have one willing to pay 1% of realtor commissions.
You're broke.
Like,
come back to me when you got something better.
Yeah, correct. Like, look, don't waste your time. Don't waste your client's time.
Interesting.
Like, I'm sure those conversations, but no, it's not like an eBay auction where I can see what everyone else is bidding. No,
you can't
it doesn't
do
work that way.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's it, man.
That was good.
Like, yes, that was quick, simple, to the point. Yeah. But look, 75% of the American populace, you guys are either going to be buying a house at one point, you're going to be selling a house at one point. Because look, if I'm a seller and I'm tuning in and I want to make sure that I'm getting the best bang for my buck.
Right.
Hey, are your buyers following some of these tips, tricks, and hacks? Right. You know?
Yeah. That's a good point.
But yeah, if you're a loan officer, are you doing these things? Are you teaching these things? Are you sharing these things? Are you hopping on social media and sharing this show, regurgitating what you learned?
Yeah.
You know, why not, if you're a loan officer, go put together a lunch and learn.
Yeah.
Maybe you watch this episode 3 or 4 times, you take good notes, and just go regurgitate, swipe and adapt.
Right.
But for the most part, that's all JC and I have been doing for the past year.
That's why I made it
we
through college.
Swipe, we adapt. You made it through college because you cheated. I'm not telling anyone to cheat, John. I'm telling people to swipe and adapt. Find something you like, make it your own.
There you go.
Go out and reteach it.
There you go.
All right.
All right.
Hey, if people want to find us, where can they find us?
I think they can find us on LinkedIn at The Loan Officer Podcast. They can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Play at The Loan Officer Podcast. You can find D.O. on LinkedIn. His name is Dustin Owen. You can also find The Loan Officer Podcast on LinkedIn at The Loan Officer Podcast. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. You guessed it, at The Loan Officer Podcast.
What about YouTube? I love YouTube.
We're on YouTube?
We're on YouTube, too.
I did not know.
Yeah. Now, some people are listening in. They're like, hey, jackasses, we know. We tune in. We see your shit all the time. Yeah. Hey, thank you.
Thank you, yeah.
Honestly. Like, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. Please continue to tune in.
Yeah.
Please continue to comment. Yeah. Please continue to share us. Give us the thumbs up. Give us the 5-star reviews. If you don't like something we're doing, let us know that, too.
Yeah.
Right? But if you tuned in for the first time, thank you.
Yeah.
We hope you continue to tune in. We hope you find what we're doing insightful, entertaining, impactful.
Yeah.
And if you do, make sure you share it. Don't keep us a secret.
Word.
What keeps us motivated, what keeps us driven is hearing from you guys, knowing that we're making a difference.
Yep.
As long as we're making a difference, we'll still continue to try to get better,
Yep.
produce good content,
Yep.
and have fun.
Let's go.
He's John Coleman. I'm Dustin Owen. You've tuned into T-Lop. That's all the time we have for you today. Best of luck out there in this market, utilizing these strategies to make sure your offer rises to the top. Deuces.
Peace.